Welcome back once again. My name is Amadichile, and in this video, and you want to follow, we are going to learn about the principles of responsive web design. Now, what are we going to learn in this video? Or what are we going to achieve at the end of this video? Well, I want to show you an output of what we are going to learn. So if you take a look at this web page I got from MDN, I think. So it's a responsive web page. See, as I shrink the screen, see how the page adjusts. So user experience is not lost. If I move it to an Android version, so you see it looks neat. So at the end of this video, we are going to build something close to this. Now, why do I say something close to this? Because some of the CSS used here involves flex and grid, and we've not learned those two. We're going to learn them in our next week video series. So let's begin. What do we have for the first class of Saturday? So let's go back. So some key points we'll cover for Saturday's class: responsive design principles. So in this class, you're going to learn what is a responsive website and some principles of some responsive web design principles. Next, what is responsive website? A responsive website. So a responsive website seamlessly adjusts to different screen sizes. Remember the screen I showed you earlier, ensuring optimal user experience across devices such as desktop, laptops, tablet, and smartphone. And we just saw an example of that from the responsive web page I showed you earlier. So next, we're going to learn about some responsive web design principles. So what are some of the responsive web design principles that you need to keep in mind if you want to have or if you want to build a responsive website that looks like this? So if you notice, if I increase the width, you see how it looks. If I adjust, you see how it looks. So what are some of the principles that we need to keep in mind in order to achieve this? So let's learn the first one. The first one is use responsive friendly units. An example of that is use the percentage, view width, view height, REM, and EM. Now, I'm going to show you an example of this, but let me just explain the difference between these two. So the difference between EM and REM. Now, EM is relative to the parent element's font size. So this is very, very important. So the parent's element font size, which is the body tag, for example. So if you wish to scale the element size based on its parent size, use EM. REM is relative to the root element's font size. So if you wish to scale the element size based on the root size, no matter what the parent size is, use REM. So this is just the difference. So let's demonstrate how we use some of these responsive web unit. So I have a VS Code open here. So this is a basic web page and I've opened it on my live server. So we have it here. So we have this responsive web design principles. So let's do some basic markup. So on a normal website, I should have my nav bar. So I just have my nav bar. Then I'll have the main, which will include this one will go inside the main, and this one here, footer will go here. So I'll just put this on footer. So if I save this and view on the web page, just notice this. Now let's learn about the end percentage. So why is it good? Why do we say that the end percentage is responsive? So let's go to our external CSS. So if I come here, remember I need to do some resetting. So put my margin to be 0, my padding to be 0, my box sizing to be that box. So now let's give the body tag a width of maybe 1000 pixel. Let's give it a border of 1 pixel solid gray. So if we look at this, you notice how it looks like. So this is not what we want, right? Okay, sorry, it's not 1000, it's 100. So you see how it looks. Now if I shrink this page, see that it overflows. It's not responsive, though we can make it a little bit responsive if we add the next design principle that we'll see, but let's leave it for them. So let's add maybe 90%. I see. So if I add this now, you see how it looks. So no matter how I shrink, it remains like that. Then I add my margin 1 arrow EM auto. So you notice they should go to the center now. So you see, so you notice that using the percentage prevents your content from overflowing. And you see how it looks like now. So if I go to responsive, so I can shrink this, see how it looks like. So that is very, very nice. So that is for the percentage. So let me comment this using the percentage. Then let's learn how to use the view width. Now the view width, if you come back to our HTML here, you notice that on this meta tag, the viewport is set to scale of 1. So it then means as I shrink my page like this, that means the viewport reduce. So if you want a container or a font size to reduce as the viewport shrinks like this, then you have to use a view width which is responsive. So let's demonstrate that. So say I only have one H1 there, so I can go directly. Say font size to be what? I can say 3 view width. So see how it looks now. As I shrink, you notice that the font size shrinks. But this is not good because you would like your font size to be readable at of font size. Now you notice that the user will be straining his eyes to read this text. So is not, if you must use a view width, then as we'll learn later, you can use a media this media attribute to make it more readable. But to reduce the way we use this media attribute for something small as a font size, then we'll now use the next responsive RC unit, which is REM. So if I do this now, you notice it stays like this. But you notice that this one to at least is readable at all font size. Now, if I add this one as 2 EM, as 3 EM, so you see. So according to what we have here, it says EM is relative to the parent element font size. So if you wish to scale the element size based on its parent size, use EM. REM is relative to the root, the HTML font size. So if you wish to scale the element size based on the root size, no matter what the parent size is, use REM. So that means we need to add a font size to the root element if we are to see how the REM works. So let's do that. So I'll come here above here. I'm going to add HTML. I'm going to say font size should be, let me say, 3 rem. So if I do this, you notice how it looks. Now if I scale down, see how it looks. So now let's apply this to, so the H1, we already have that EM there, so not the REM. So see how it shrinks. Now if I have this, I put this as REM, let's know the difference as I shrink. So you see, almost the same thing. But to see the difference between REM and REM, let's now come to the body tag and give it a font size. Font size of, let's say, 3 rem still. So we are going to do some markup. So I'll reduce this to EM. So let's see how it looks like. See, this is very big. Let's use 1. And I see it's beginning to work because we've added a font size, not to the body tag. Okay, let me show you more. So if I scale this down to 0.8, notice how it looks like now. So it looks nice. So if you're using the EM, it tries to it makes sure that the font size almost stays the same despite the screen size. But if I put REM now, notice how it look like. See, it's smaller, and it will stay like that for all screen sizes. So this is just an example of how we use the DVD RAM and REM. So let me show you another example. So in another example, I have a section here. Section, I have a class of section 1. Then I have a H3. Step 1. To let's just have step 1, then I have some paragraph. B. Lauren. So this is the first section. So let me have another section. Section 2. And I have step 2. So let's add space to this. So if I go to my browser, I'll see something that looks like this. So I have step 1 and step 2. Now you notice that the font size of the text is very big. And why is that so? Because of this. So I think we can clear this one. So if you see I think let's move that one up. Should be the first. So let's have it like that. So remember that the RAM works with this and the EM works more with this. So to take the closest parent, which is likely the body, which is the body now. So you notice that if I want to reduce the font size for this step 1, so notice what I'll do. Let's say dot section 1. I say font size. I'll say it should be, let me use 1 arrow here. Then let's do for section 2. Let me use 1 here. So let's see the difference. So you notice that for the step 1 that we use REM, you see how it adjusts, and if I reduce, it remains like this all through. So even though they are of the same unit, see that just as was explained, the RAM takes its reference from the HTML tag that will give a font size of 3. And while this one now is taking the font size from either the body tag or this. So even though I change this to 2, let's see if there be a difference, see it reduces a little. So in order to make this work, let me say 0.5. So you see they are not of the same size, and if I reduce, you notice how responsive it is. So you see, for the same font size, so even though I reduce this 1 to 3, let's see there'll be a difference. So you see, so this is the difference. So for the same font size of their immediate parent, which is for the EM now, is taking its immediate parent as this. However, for the REM, it always reference this. But if this is not there, then it will take this. So I want to show you something again. Then let's assume I don't want to do this. So if I give the font size of this section tag to be 2 EM, then I come here, say dot section 2 key, then H3. The font size should be 1 EM. You notice that the font size now will be relative to this, no longer the body. So let's see. You see, it's not relative to that, which is very big. So 0.5 here. You notice how big it is, because it's taking its reference from this and not the body tag again. So even though I wrote this one, so this is taking its reference from the body tag, and while this one is taking its reference from whatever this one arrives at. So that was it, or that's the reason why it was too big like this. So now if I use it to 2 REM, so see it is. So I would suggest for immediate parents that you want EM to reference from, if you don't want it to keep multiplying, use REM, because it always reference this. Okay, so this is for this. Now let's apply what we now learn to a box, let's say a container. So I'll have section 3, section 3, section dot section 3. Let's say I have 2 box dot box 1, say box 1, shift dot arrow down, make this one box 2 and this one box 2. So if you notice now, I'll have this on my browser like this. So you notice that this is how it looks. So now let's add a border to this so we can see and give them a width. So sorry, come down here, say dot section 3 dot box. Okay, let's give this our font, our section 3, a font size for the sake of our EM. So 2 REM. The next, I'll say dot section 3 dot box 1. Say the width should be maybe 5 REM. Let's add a border of one PC solid red. Then shift alt arrow down, box 2. Let's add this one to 5 EM still. So let's see the difference. So you see the difference that the EM one is larger. So if I scroll down, if I reduce, see that it's beginning to overflow. So this is how it looks like. So even though let me change this one to 3, the reference. So change it to 3. So you notice that it just gets bigger. It just gets bigger. So this is it. So let's now learn the net design principles, since we have now known the difference between EM and REM. Oh, we've not covered this, the view height. So let's cover that view height. So the view height. So for the view height, so let's assume that I want my navbar to have, okay, let's assume that if I have a small text, so let me comment out some things here. So let me comment out section 1 and 2 for a moment. So you notice this is how it looks now. Now, supposing I want this footer to always stay here, then no matter how small the content is, then as the content begins to add and grow, then it can scroll down. So supposing I want to achieve that, so that is where I can use my view height. So let's do that. So I'll put my nav, the height should be 10 view height. Then I'll do same for the main. So the main, I want it to be 80 view height. Then lastly, for the footer, I want it to be 10 view height. So if I save this now, you notice that it pushes the footer down, even though there is no other content. So to see this, let's add some border, Ctrl C. So I'll add a border of maybe purple here. Purple. Yeah, I'll add blue. Then here I'll make it black. So if I save this, I have this, but you notice that because the text size of the navbar is big, it's causing it to overflow and enter the zone of the main of the main tag. So to prevent that from happening, we'll add min. So this means that 10 view height will be the minimum height, but if there is room for, so if the content increases, then it will make room, so to like expand to accommodate. So we'll do the same thing for this min height, and this also applies to width. So you can have a min width. So you use a min height or a min width when you want the container to grow as the content grows. So if I save this now, notice that it has adjusted. So we have the navbar, we have the main section, and we have the footer. Now if I remove these comments, so I do // again, you notice that it did not overflow again. So this is how we use the view height. And if you shrink, see that by applying this, we have this. Now you will notice that our main section and our nav is not that responsive. So what do we add here? So let's go to the next point, which is this: use fluid layout. That is the next principle of a responsive web design, is to use fluid layout. And what is a fluid layout? A fluid layout is just like the word fluid. It can compress and it can expand. So we use the max width instead of width, and we use the mean height instead of what? Height. And we have seen an example of this mean height. So let's see that of the width. So if I come here to my body tag, so I can go to my body tag now. Yes, my body tag. So I'll just need to add a max width here. So now this max width means that this is the maximum width it can stretch to, but as the viewport width shrinks, it will shrink with it uniformly. So let's see how it works. So if I shrink now, see, so let's add, so let's start with the nav. So let's see if we can add the max width here. Let's say max width should be 100%. So let's just for this one and see if, so if I scroll, so it just has some limit. So let's check the responsive tab. So you see, this is not a good design. So let's fix it Let me remove this and check if that is the cause. Yes, that is the cause. So that means if I want to leave that, I should give it a max width of 100%. So you see, or I still give it the same thing as that one, which is 90%. So see that removing the HTML still makes everything works fine, but let's see the difference. The only difference is with reference to our REM. So let's reduce this to 2. Then let's add our margin O2. Okay, let's leave it at 3. Then we can add our margin auto. So this is it. Then what we need to now do is to go to that our navbar and give it a font size. Because you're the font size that's making the overflow. So we can say 1 REM. So that will fix the bug. So you see. So this is how it looks like. But now you see that this box 2 is also overflowing. So how do we fix that? Still the same process. We go back to our box 2 and make this a max width. So by making it a max width, you see, it stays like that. Okay, so that's fine. So that's fine. So let's make this one 1.5, so that the default font size will not be too big. Okay, that's okay. Make it 2. Okay, so you see how it looks like now. So by applying these 2 responsive web design principles, we use the responsive units like array, like the percentage, the view width, the view height, and the REM and EM. You see the web page looks responsive. Then let's look at the next responsive design principle. So by using the max width and the mean height, you see that we have a fluid layout. So next, we want to use flexible images. So in this case, we use a max width and a percentage. So let's see how we apply this. So with respect to this, let's go back to our VS Code. So let's add another markup. So here I can add that one also .img or box 3. Inside it I have an image. So I already have an image folder with one image inside. So ./images and that. Then the auth, I'll say water tank. something like that. So come down, you see that this our image is not fluid. So if I go back to the responsive mode, go to responsive, notice that as I shrink, see it's not fluid. So how do we do that? So what we need to do is to go back to our CSS, scroll down, then luckily inside here, so I have the adult section 3. I think that is section 3. Yes, section 3. Dot box 3. So let's give it a width of 1, let's say 90%. A width of 90%. Let's add our max width. Then put our margin auto. Add our text, align center, so add the image, move to the center. So we now need to target the image itself. So shift alt arrow down. So I'll just add an image here. Then give it a max width 100%. So need to take this one as is 100. So it will be 490. Then take the mean height. The mean height to be 4 EM. So that means it can grow, or if I don't want to use 4 EM, I can use fit content. So let's remove this. So let's see how it looks like now. So see how it looks like. So let's do something else. So let me make this to be 95. Okay, can leave it like that. So I say the margin should be 1 EM up and down, and this should be auto. So I'll just give it a space up and down. So you notice that now. So it is that if I shrink this now, the image is now fluid. See, as I expand, the image becomes big. So this is, so if I close this, see how big the image is. So this is just a simple website, but you see how responsive it is now. So if I go back to my inspect, you notice how responsive it looks like. So if I go back to this next X5, so you notice that it looks like that. Okay, so let's look at the next. Responsive web design principles. So the next one is include system fonts as a fallback when using web fonts or a third-party font. So to do this, so let's demonstrate this. So I'll go back. So let's go to our browser and let's download Inter or fancy Google fonts. So let's look at fonts. So we just need the CDN. So the get font. So get embed. So in the get embed as a link tag, I'll just copy this. Then I'll go to my index.html top here and paste. So now the font that I will use is this luxury script. So if I go back, you see how I'm to use it. So I'm going to use it like this. So I'll just copy this here. Ctrl C. So first of all, let me copy everything. Then, so all I need to do is to come down here. So I have a next. So I'll just paste the CSS out here because we only have this. So I'll just copy this class name. Come here. I'll do dot this. Hit enter. So I'll say P Lauren. Let me just add a H3. So if I save this now and save this, come back to my browser and scroll down, you'll notice the luxury font has been added. Now, this one that is here is a custom font, like is a system font, isn't built. So if this is not available for some reason, then it will fall back to this. So let's demo that now. So I'll go back and comment this out. So I'll comment this out. And by the time it refreshes, see, that is the fallback. So this is an example of this step. Say include system font as a fallback when using a web font or a third-party font. Okay, so the next, and go my please just give me a moment, I'll soon be done. Just a moment, just like it's 10 minutes, I'll soon be done. So the next step is make sure your nested container is flexible. So, and this involves using flex or grid. Now, what is a nested container? A nested container is a tag such as div or a session that contains tags that are related. Example, the nav tag containing the link tag. So an example of a nested container is the session tag that we are using here. So like this section now, it contains this heading 1 and this paragraph. So this H tag and this P tag, they are related. So that is an example of that. And we're going to learn more about flex and grid in our next week video. So this is the next responsive design principle. So let's go to the next. We want to use the media queries. Now we're going to learn more on this in the next video I'll make for this week. So the next responsive web design principle is, are you going to use the mobile first or the desktop first? Now the mobile first involve building the mobile version first before you build the desktop version. And while the desktop first involve building the desktop first before you build the mobile version. And let me explain what that means. So if I'm building the mobile first, I'm going to build this first. Then after that, I will now build the desktop version, which is this. Then if I'm building the desktop first, I'll build this first before I build this. So I think for this our section 3, let's add a font size. Font size of 1 EM. So let's see if it's too big. Too big. So let's add a mark suite to it. Need to okay, so that's not our focus for now. Let's add it to 1 arrow here so that doesn't get too big. Okay, so we see that works well for this one. Okay, so the next web design principle. So we are done with this video. So I thank you very much for paying attention up till now. So I believe you've gotten some of the responsive web design principles, and you're going to in my next video we are going to learn the following here. So thank you very much, and see you in the next video.